Hello, everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live. We are an hour earlier today. There is a Stampin' Up! Zoom call that I wanted to be on at 3, so I needed to do this early. So you can always watch it later if you can't be here live. So hopefully you will find this. If you are new to my Facebook Live here, this is what we're going to make today. I'll put it there so you have something pretty to look at. I do this every Thursday, usually at 3. And then I put on my blog post the dimensions for the card that we make. And I also give away the card we made the last week. So last week we made this real pretty shell card. So I will tell you at the end who won that. And I think that's all I need to tell you. On my blog will be the dimensions. And I'll give it away the next week. All right, today... Well, here, I'll show you the stamp set real quick first, although that's not the focus of what I'm showing you today. So this, I used a couple of stamp sets. Actually, I used one stamp set, but the dies are from this bundle, Nature's Symphony. And so these are the dies, so I used these 2 leaf dies. But the sentiment I used, let me grab that real quick. This was the January product of the month, Fabulous Sayings. I meant to look before I got on to see if it was still available. And I need to get the March one. I thought I had ordered it, but I evidently did not. So I need to place an order today or tomorrow. Just as a reminder, free shipping started yesterday. And I believe it's on orders $75 or more, which will earn you the chance to get the product of the month. And it's some beautiful designer series paper, so I need to get that done either today or tomorrow. Okay, but the star of the show is our Stampin' Positioner. And the reason I wanted to show that to you is if you are not already a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can get this free if you join my team. So... this is just the little thing that comes with it, which I haven't even really looked at. Tells you the parts, how to use it. But let's just look at the real thing. So it's very lightweight. This is the base of it. The magnets have little tabs on them so that you can pick them up very easily. If you remember our last positioning tool had just bar magnets, and a lot of us wrapped washi tape or something around them to make it easier to pick up. But these are great. They can go together without shattering, so that's nice too. And you have 2 plates that go with it. So this paper doesn't come with it. It's a separate purchase, and I'll show you that in a minute. One plate is this big one, and so that sits right on these little posts right here. And those posts go down. I'm sure you probably can't really tell. But then you just push the whole thing down, and that's how you stamp. We're not using this one today. I'll do that. Maybe we'll use that one next week just to show you. The one we're using today is this little guy. And so you want to be sure you can see the Stampin' Up! And he goes on these posts. And it's not these big circles you would think. Those are the actual feet that push in. It's these little circles up here that go in here. Now this one does have some leeway. So when you do it, you just want to make sure that your grid lines line up with the grid lines on your paper to keep it straight. And then again, you just push down and it stamps. Okay? Now this paper comes in a tablet like this. And on one side is US and the other is metric. So whichever one you want to use, you've got it in the paper. There is nothing, just to show you, there's nothing on the Stamparatus, or sorry, I will probably do that again, the Stampin' Positioner. There are some measurements along the top and the side, but nothing on this. So if you wanted to line something up, you're going to want this grid paper. And it has little holes in the top, and they just go on those little tiny pegs. All right? So the base, the magnets, and the 2 plates are what you get free if you join my team in the month of February. And then you can always get the grid paper as part of your starter kit. Okay? All right, so I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull this off. I'm also using that same stamp set. No, I already showed you this stamp set. I'm using the Just Because from this Fabulous Rains. I got myself confused. All right, so we are going to grab, this is one of our everyday arches. I was so thankful that it didn't leave because I really do like this. So I'm going to put it sideways. This may seem counterintuitive, and I'm going to put it right up against those pegs. And I made a little mark there just to remind me where I put the base of this. Now I'm going to redo the stamp, so that's not critical, but once you do this, you know, if your paper moves, you want to know where to put your, okay, now we need to put our magnets on so it doesn't move on us. Now, a little bit different than last time, and I may move those as I get this on here. You want the magnets as close to your stamp as possible. So we're going to put this, lay it on here. Try and make sure it's straight. Now, these are photopolymer, so they're going to kind of stick to your fingers, to the paper. All right, and then put this guy on. Before you press it down, make sure it's lined up with the grid lines on the paper, and then press down, and that will pull up your, and just make sure your paper hasn't moved, pull up the stamp. So now you're ready to stamp. And let's see, let's move this guy up a little bit more so he's closer. Now, a friend of mine, April, demonstrated this at Kay's team meeting, and one of the tips that she gave us is if your paper sticks when you've inked it, because photopolymer are kind of sticky, you can just put your bone folder in there when you lift up the plate, and that will help keep the paper in place. So I'm going to keep that handy. All right, we are going to start with Pretty Peacock. So the paper I'm using is from that Nature's Walk. Let me show you real quick. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to go share this. Let me go do that real quick while you're contemplating this beautiful positioner. All right, I must have to refresh. One moment. There we go. So I'm going to go post this over on my page in case people are looking for it there instead of in my group. So just take me a minute to do this, and then we'll get back to using our Stampin' Positioner. You can tell I was excited to show this to you because I forgot completely about sharing this over there. Okay, get back to where I was. Almost. Here we go. Okay. Now we're ready to go. Okay. So now we're going to ink up our stamp. Like I said, this is Pretty Peacock. Put this on, make sure it's lined up straight, and then press down. And then if you feel that didn't seem to want to grab, but all right, there's our first one. Now we're going to do another one. Hopefully I got the stamp straight. It's kind of hard to tell when I'm not right over it. Okay, let's scoot this down. So we did that one there, so we're going to move down one spot. Again, make sure it's even. We're going to move this down a little bit. So make sure your grid lines line up and stamp. Now, if you wanted to use the same color, then you would just keep going, but I wanted to use a different color. So I have Lost Lagoon and my chamois, because we're going to want to clean off the Pretty Peacock off of there. I really ought to have a smaller one, like buy one and cut it in force for this. Okay. Now, let's ink this up in our Lost Lagoon. I think these colors go so well together, and I'm sure we'll have to move this magnet. So let's So we were there, so we're going to move down one spot, line up our grid lines, and I'm going to move this over on this side and press that down. So now we have a lighter one, and it looks like I wasn't quite straight, but that's okay. All right, now, if we want to put some in between, which I do, we have to readjust our stamp. So I'm going to clean it just so I don't make a mess on my hands. All right, so we're gonna leave our paper here and move this down here. Now we want to put one in between. So take your stamp off, and you want to be sure you're doing it in between too, not like at the end of one, because then the spacing won't work right. So if you think that looks like where you want it, line up your grid lines, pick it up. Oh, that time it stuck. I think it sticks more when you don't have ink on it. All right, so we're gonna do Lost Lagoon again. And it's gonna go right here, line up your grid lines, press. And then we'll do one more Pretty Peacock. Now I don't have to clean in between because Pretty Peacock is darker, but I like to. I like to make sure I don't contaminate my ink pads. So again, let's ink up Pretty Peacock. Now we want it to go in between there, line up our grid lines. And there you go. Now, if you have a wider sentiment or taller sentiment, I guess, then you might not have to go back over it like I did, you know, in between those. All right, let's clean this off before I forget. All right, so there is one use for the Stampin' Positioner. So again, this is something you can get free if you join my team in the month of February. And there you go. Isn't that fun? Okay. The rest of this is really easy. I have a Lost Lagoon card base. This is some of that gorgeous designer series paper, and I'm going to do the other side. So on this one, I used this side. This time, we're going to use this side, and you can tell me which one you like better. Let me get my adhesive. So next week, we'll use the big plate. And I think we'll try and do like a wreath with it. I think it will be good to use it to make a wreath. All right, get my liquid glue. So I'm going to kind of lay this. Now I did this kind of in the corner. And this is the leaf die cut I showed you. And there is a side that looks better. Like that's the front side. And then that's the back side. So I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back side, not a lot, because I don't want it to squeeze through the little holes in that. Let's see if I can pick this up. All right, this one's, you know, I just kind of put it to the left top. Just hold it for a few seconds so that glue will adhere. And then this is the other leaf stamp from that. That's the back side. And again, I'm going to put a little bit of, not over my card, some dots of liquid glue. And this one I am going to kind of place this so I know where I want that guy, because I want him just kind of coming up out of the upper right corner. All right. Now we just need some dimensionals. So this guy's going to be put on with dimensionals. Oh, we forgot to stamp our, I felt like it needed a little something else. So I have, set that aside for a second. This is crumb cake. And this is just like a wood texture stamp that's in the set. So I think I stamped off, where's my scratch paper? Oh, I thought I grabbed it. Oh, it's right over here. Because I didn't want it to be too intrusive. Just a little extra texture. There we go. And that kind of goes with the embellishments we're going to put on. All right, now we're ready to put it on with dimensionals. Good thing I remembered that before I put the dimensionals on it. That would have been hard to stamp. All right. This guy will go down here. And then the last thing, these are the embellishments that come with this suite. And they are called faux bronze hexagons. Pentagons. I keep saying hexagons. They're pentagons. They have 5 sides. So I thought that crumb cake was just a little, we're going to change this up a little bit because I stamped that crumb cake in a little bit different place. But I thought that went well with these faux bronze embellishments. We'll put it right there. All right, and that's it. So an easy way to make a whole list, whatever, I don't know what I'm trying to say, a series of sentiments or anything. So next week we'll play with it again. And this time we'll use, let me pull it back out just to kind of, you probably won't be able to see this on camera, but there is, you can kind of see, some diagonal lines right there. And so if you put a piece of, I don't have another piece here, but if you put a square in here like this, then you can turn it and stamp a wreath. So that's what we'll do next week, just to show you how to do that. And we'll use the big plate for that one. All right, that is the new Stampin' Positioner. If you have any questions about it or about becoming a member on my team, just let me know. Here's the 2 versions of this. I need to tell you who won. Let me see. I have my swap. This is what I've been sharing this week, but I'll show them to you in person. Since I have them right here still, I left them so I could show you. This was my swap. That was using the Greenery Lane. This is washi tape on a piece of white cardstock. And then this was stamped and die cut from that suite or that bundle. This is Aspen Grove. This was from Gail. And again, these are, I've been showing these on my Facebook page this week. This is from Angela, Sweet Bugs. Isn't that cute? So cute. These are, I forgot to say at the beginning, these are catalog case swaps, which means we took a card that was in the catalog and copied it exactly. And if it was a different, like if it was a small card, we were supposed to make it full size. This one is Time for Celebration Ephemera and Reason to Celebrate Stamps, and that's from Patience. Simple but very cute. This is Joyful Squares. This is from Sean. And the paper, the designer series paper, is printed in squares, so you just cut them apart. This one was a lot of work. This is from Kay. Fragrant Layers. Look at all that die cutting she did. So she had to die cut the whole thing, and then the flowers, she had to do it like 1, 2, 3, 4 times so that she would have all the pieces to put in of the different colors. That was a lot of work. I think she had to make 11 of them, so that was a lot of die cutting. This one is the one that didn't have any name, and I forgot what the name of the stamp set was. I think I put it on Facebook. I think I looked it up and put it on Facebook. Oh, it was like tulips. Something tulips. This one is Easter Basket from Khaki. Isn't that cute? Look at that bunny. This is Woolly Friends. I've used this one a lot. I think this is, hang on, I think it's on the inside. Well, come on, open up. Yeah, this is from April. So that's Woolly Friends. And then the last one is Made with Love, something like that. And it's from Beverly. It's the Valentine suite that's in the catalog. Okay, one last thing. This is the card we made last week, and the winner is Nancy. So I will get that to Nancy. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. There's the card we made and the card I made before. I kind of like this one, I think. Those leaves show up better. But I will check with whoever wins next week and they can choose which one they would like to have. All right. Thank you so much. I will see you next Thursday. Bye.